So this video is going to continue on by talking about surface mining. So surface mining is basically you start at the surface and you just start digging down. You're disturbing everything there on the surface to access the desired material. Big idea, by doing this, you tend to have lots and lots of habitat loss. Subsurface mining, you kind of like dig a shaft. So think of it like you put a straw in, and then at the where the straw accesses deep down, then you start digging out down there. And we'll talk about subsurface mining in a later video. So we're going to go and talk about different types of surface mining. So there's open pit dredging, area strip mining, contour strip mining, mountaintop removal. You don't really need to know much about them, but the idea is just recognize these are names that are often used for surface mining. Dredging is the weird one. You don't really use that one in there. But open pit, it's an open pit and you just dig out, and you can see these pits can be over a mile across and can go, even thousands of feet deep. So it's a big open pit, and that's a type of surface mining. Dredging, again, can be from bottom of like waterways. They'll dredge out waterways sometimes to keep them navigable so boats can go through them. But dredging is technically another type of surface mining. Area strip mining, they'll go and they'll strip out a whole bunch of land, and then they'll get to the desired material and then they'll fill it back in. So that would be area strip mining. Contour strip mining is more on the side of a mountain where they kind of go in, there's the slope, and so you kind of go in here and you dig out this area here to get to the desired material. And so that's kind of what you'll see there. Again, another type of surface mining. And mountaintop removal is literally like they almost remove the top of the mountain to access the seam of interest to them. So those are all different types of surface mining. So just don't stress about it, but just realize these are different types of surface mining when you see those. So one thing I want to talk about, and then we're going to get into disadvantages of mining. But first is one of the disadvantages is something called acid mine drainage. And what is acid mine drainage? Basically, it is when you're mining, you're breaking up the rock. And when you break up the rock, you're increasing surface area. So there's way more surface area of the rock that is broken up. And then that overburden in those rocks. When groundwater flows through those rocks, then iron ions can dissolve in there. And the groundwater, again, flows through there. The iron ions dissolve in the water. And then when the iron ions, so it basically often comes from this rock called pyrite. When that iron ions dissolve in the water, when there's, again, different processes that happen. But essentially, when they reach the surface and they react with oxygen, you can form iron 2 is converted to what's called iron 3 ion, which is insoluble and precipitates out, which creates like a TSS in the waterway. So how it looks is like this. So this should look like a beautiful little stream, but instead it looks really orange. And if you were to like grab some of the water, you would see tiny orange particles in there. So it's acid mine drainage. And what's interesting about acid mine drainage is it puts TSS in the waterway due to a chemical reaction. So there's TSS increases in the waterway. And so that is going to make it so sensitive species aren't going to be able to survive. It's out of the range of tolerance. This can impact the albedo of the water. So the water now has this darker color, so it might absorb more heat and get warmer. This could change the dissolved oxygen. There also can be, in addition to these iron ions, there can be heavy metal ions in the water. And those heavy metal ions, again, now can contaminate drinking water sources or have environmental impacts. Again, sensitive species can be that need a very high level of dissolved oxygen. This can impact the dissolved oxygen because with the TSS, the water gets warmer, and with the water getting a little bit warmer, the dissolved oxygen goes down, so you can lose your biodiversity. So again, it's kind of this consequence of actions that can happen and this loss of biodiversity. So that all can happen from acid mine drainage, in addition to the fact that it's called acid mine drainage, and an acid lowers the pH. So the pH goes down. And so species with a narrow range of tolerance for pH, they have a certain conditions around neutral. If that pH goes too low, they can't survive. So that is an additional issue with acid mine drainage. So lots and lots of issues with acid mine drainage that come from mining. Here's another image of, again, this waterway, and you can just see how this orange color is. So that's all that TSS from those iron 3 ions in there. So environmental impacts of acid mine drainage. Again, these heavy metals can be toxic to fish. The low pH, so it can be out of the range of tolerance for specialists. The iron precipitates out. So that precipitate means it's a solid, comes out and again increases that TSS. That could get into the fish gills. It could smother fish eggs. Again, that albedo effect, so it's going to warm the water. So there could be a wide variety. Less photosynthesis can happen in this waterway because the sunlight can't penetrate. So lots of impacts of acid mine drainage. And here's just a image of, again, this ore, rain and oxygen over time, okay? And then essentially you're getting this acidic component, and then you end up killing off fish in that waterway. So that is acid mine drainage. Now that we've kind of talked about that one in particular, I just want to talk through some of the advantages and disadvantages of surface mining. I'm going to start with the advantages. I've kind of been talking acid mine drainage and the amount of waste and all this stuff. But why in the world do we do this then? Why do we do it? It provides stuff we need. We like electricity. A lot of coal comes from burning. A lot of our electricity comes from burning coal. So we like electricity. We like cheap electricity. It's pretty cheap to produce electricity by burning coal. And so it provides resources. It provides energy. People like gold. People like diamonds. All of our electronics, there's a lot of metals and even like rare earth metals and things like that that are in our electronics. So it provides stuff we need, provides jobs for the local economy in areas that are mining. People without a lot of education can get a really good paying job in a mine. So it provides jobs for the local economy, and people make money. People like to make money. So lots of economic advantages for mining. What's the disadvantage? The disadvantage, first, we have this habitat loss or this ecosystem destruction, massive scarring and disruption of the land. Lots and lots of erosion. So again, think about some of those slopes. If it's mountaintop removal and there's rain, it's just going to wash away. That soil is going to wash away, and that can go into waterways. So it's not going to be nutrient rich because it's just going to kind of be bare soil. But again, you could just wash away a lot of that soil. And when you wash that soil and those rocks away, that's going to increase the TSS in waterways. Acid mine drainage, which we talked about, again, that's going to increase the TSS load in the waterway. It's going to lower your pH or make your waterway more acidic. So you have issues from that. The process of separating the ores from the desired material from the waste materials, smelting. Smelting uses a lot of energy, releases sulfur dioxide into the air, which is linked with acid rain, releases lead into the atmosphere. So you get this air pollution issues. You get lots of carbon dioxide from the smelting process, from all the equipment. I'm going to show you in just a second how huge this equipment is. Massive, massive energy to do mining operations. Massive amount of waste. Again, think about the example of the low quality ore of gold, that to get I think it was 0.003%, or I'm sorry, 0.003% gold, all of that. So the 99.997 basically is waste. Massive, massive, massive amounts of waste. And then water issues from like the cyanide heap leaching. So lots of issues with this. So a solution in some regards, so there's economic benefits, but there's a lot of disadvantages to mining. This is why you often hear them talk about recycling. We should recycle metals more in particular. Why? Especially when you think like gold, okay? And again, you're not going to throw out gold, but with a lot of these metals, there's still tons of waste, all the air pollution, all of this. If we recycle metals, it uses way less energy, way less of these disadvantages. This is why people are really excited often about recycling. So again, kind of recap, your advantages are mainly economic, your disadvantages, habitat loss, soil erosion, massive amounts of waste, acid mine drainage, leaks from the cyanide heap leaching, topsoil runoff into nearby bodies of water, again, that TSS. So I'm going to end with here this video. And so this is a haul pack. He's doing a test run. To give you a sense of the haul pack, if I were to stand or a person were to stand next to the tire, they wouldn't even get up past the axle of it. They would look like a bug. Typically, for someone to get up into the haul pack, it is stairs that you're climbing like to the second or third stories of a building. That's how huge the haul pack is. It can haul massive amounts of stuff. So watch, it's just going to drive right over a truck. So there you can see like how flat that truck is and how it just like was a bump in the road. These are massive, massive pieces of equipment. And so this is why it's super important to realize that this type of mining uses massive amounts of energy, and it's a huge operation. So we're going to stop there after talking about surface mining and other parts of that.